In IELTS Writing Task 2, one of the best things you can do to boost your score is include a great, relevant example. But how do you do this? Let's take a look. Before we get into the ins and outs of writing examples, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can catch our new videos every week. Okay, examples. What example do we write? How do we think of the best example? And when we have that idea, how do we present it in a way that maximizes our IELTS score? Let's start by taking a look at the question prompt. Imagine you get this question on test day. Children need to learn right from wrong at an early age, and punishment is the most effective way to teach the difference. To what extent do you agree? What punishment should be given? And notice that the instructions below the question prompt say, give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your knowledge or experience. So imagine, you've made a plan, you've written a perfect introduction, and you're now onto your body paragraph. You want to use a great, relevant example to support your ideas. So let's take a look at some common ways, though not always the best ways, to present your example. Common ways of giving an example. So we start with our main point. Punishment guides children to be more disciplined. We explain our point. Learning that actions have consequences helps them develop the ability to reflect on their behavior after a transgression in order to make a better decision in the future. Then we introduce our example. For example, if a child behaves badly and is spanked, he or she will not repeat that behavior. Okay, so the idea is there, you've extended a little bit, and this is probably the most common style of example presentation that we see. And it's okay. Let's take a look at a few other ways we could do this. So here you can see we begin our sentence with for example. But we could move for example. Here we've moved for example deeper into the sentence. Notice how we have a comma on either side and it's no longer capitalized. This is a slight improvement on the way that we can do it, or we can also do this. Instead of for example, we can say for instance. And finally, we can move for instance back to the beginning. These are the most common ways we see examples presented in IELTS Writing Task 2, and they're okay. We could also just leave it out. Like this. If a child behaves badly and is spanked, he or she will not repeat that behavior. If you're aiming for a 5 or a 6, then these methods of presenting your examples will help the reader follow your idea, especially if you're not totally confident in your grammar or vocabulary. But if you're aiming for a 7 or an 8, there are other ways you can present your examples. But first, let's take a look at one more thing. Don't do this. A recent article in the Wall Street Journal revealed that if a child behaves badly and is spanked, he or she will not repeat that behavior. And don't do this. According to a recent survey by Harvard University, if a child behaves badly and is spanked, he or she will not repeat that behavior. And don't do this. A recent statistical analysis at MIT showed that 85% of people believe that if a child behaves badly and is spanked, he or she will not repeat that behavior. These extra words before the example are empty. It's not wrong according to any criteria, but it shows me that you're not really thinking carefully about the question and that you're not making a good effort to extend and support your ideas. If you're aiming for a higher score, this is going to slow you down. Now, let's take a look back at the question prompt. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your knowledge or experience. So let's think about that a little more. You want to provide examples from your knowledge or experience. And one way we can do that is this. When I was young, spankings were very common. As a result, we were well behaved. This is fine. We've given a very personal example. Notice the use of the personal pronouns I and we, or we can do it like this. When children receive a spanking, they quickly learn that they have made a serious mistake. Notice how this is less personal, more global, and it's slightly better and it's more academic. Here's another example. In Canada, we would receive detention if we misbehaved or did not do our homework. This is another personal example, which is fine, or we can improve it slightly. In Canada, detention is one of the most common forms of punishment for bad behavior. Again, this is less personal, slightly more academic, and slightly better. Now, you will absolutely need to practice this, and then you'll want to get feedback from an expert teacher. At E2, we give you thorough feedback based on the IELTS writing criteria. All of our markers are either ex-writing examiners or highly trained experts. From the feedback, you'll be able to identify exactly what you need to improve to get the score you want. We correct your writing, mark the writing against the criteria, and link you to content that will rapidly improve your writing. This will help improve your scores enormously. Writing feedback is available at E2 Test Prep in a range of packages. The links are down below. Now, before we move on to see some more great examples, I need to mention one important thing. Don't use examples to repeat ideas. Use examples to extend ideas. Let's take a look at our original paragraph. For example, if a child behaves badly, a spanking will teach him or her to not repeat that same behavior. So, this example is not wrong, but it just kind of repeats the idea from before. To get that higher score, you want to extend the idea, take it further, not just repeat what you've already said with different words. Here is a good example. A child who has faced physical punishments or a restriction of privileges will want to avoid pain or missing out. This will lead to, and then I can continue extending the idea. So this example extends the idea and takes it further, and you'll get the higher score. Don't forget, if you're trying to get that high score, you will also want practice and, of course, feedback. And feedback is available at E2 in a range of packages. All right, let's take a look at a more elegant way we can present some examples. Short examples to illustrate ideas. One way you can do this is called listing. Look at this example. Softer methods of punishment, comma, including timeouts, comma, grounding, comma, or extra chores, comma, will help children to be more diligent in their education and personal lives. Listing is a great way to support your idea. So here you've used a short, simple, but still complex grammar structure to support your idea and not to be the centerpiece of your paragraph. It also really lets your vocabulary shine. Grounding, timeouts, extra chores. It's very, very content-specific vocabulary. Let's take a closer look at this grammar structure. There are a number of softer methods of punishment which can guide young people to better behavior, comma, including extra chores, restricting video games, or withholding allowance. Or we can change this to comma, which include or which includes extra chores, restricting video games, or withholding allowance. Now, let's just take a minute here. I want to compare one of these good examples with one of the weaker examples we saw earlier. Notice here, in the first example, we've got 8 important words that help extend and exemplify the idea. But in the second example, we just have 12 empty words that don't really add any important content to our answer. You want to try to have all of your words be carefully chosen to support your idea. So here, instead of 10 empty words, I've got 8 great relevant content words. Are you liking this? Don't forget to hit that like button, and definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's keep going. Here's another example. Comma, such as extra chores, restricting video games, or withholding allowance. Or we can use a colon. Colon, extra chores, restricting video games, or withholding allowance. Finally, we can write comma, for example, comma, extra chores, restricting video games, or withholding allowance. So there you go. You can use examples to add small details to your writing. You don't have to use it as the centerpiece of your writing. And in fact, I do recommend extending ideas often by showing effect. Be sure to check out this video here. This video is using effect to extend your ideas. To be honest, I sometimes find it difficult to use examples to support my ideas. I find effect works very nicely as well. To be honest, with examples, a lot of times people just lie or they invent information. And personally, I find that a little bit difficult to do. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.